Good day everyone. So one of the things that we often do from time to time is stuff like a bit of like a technical deep dive. So for instance with Kokomi, we sort of looked at in one video like what's the effect of using attack speed on Kokomi, and sort of what the implications are for like Hydra application. We've looked at some things like with Yaimiko, how to do sort of like proper positioning and so on. We even did like a VOD review sort of video sort of explaining just in a general sense how you should be thinking about cooldowns and how you should overlap them, and generally what the difference is between playing correctly and not playing correctly. So with Kokomi, there is something that you can do which is very, very extreme. I've showcased it on the channel before, but I've never pointed it out. But it is something that's very advanced. So if you want to try this, you could sort of follow the strategy I'm going to present. Of course, the strategy is not the only one, but it's basically this. How do you get your jellyfish to sort of keep on doing maximum damage? So if you guys aren't aware, whenever you cast Kokomi's jellyfish, it does about like 2000-ish damage, and when you go into your elemental burst, obviously the jellyfish will start doing a lot more damage, and once you exit your elemental burst, like then the jellyfish will do less damage. So in this case, you can see the jellyfish is all glowy. It's looking absolutely beautiful whilst it's glowy like that. And you can see here it is still glowy, which is pretty insane. So you might ask, well, what's happening? Why is it still glowy like this? And I'll just sort of let the little jellyfish play out, and then we'll cast another one just so that you can make sure that the jellyfish was indeed glowing. So I'm just going to cast this one again. There you go. If you do compare the two, you guys can rewind the video and whatever, you'll notice that this jellyfish is not glowing, but the previous one was glowing, and when it glows, it obviously gets the additional attack buff, but you might say, well, hang on. Like, Kokomi wasn't in her elemental burst. In fact, you swapped off of Kokomi. So how does this work at all? Well, essentially what happens is, if you cast, like, Bakekrage, the jellyfish, during Kokomi's elemental burst, and you then immediately swap off, before this, jellyfish does like its second tick. So a lot of people think the first tick is like after you cast it, so it's not. The first tick is on the initial cast, and then the second tick is what you should be looking out for. So once you cast Bakekrage, it's going to do like a tick. You swap off this tick. So before this tick, if you swap off, this jellyfish will keep the attack buff from Kokomi, even though she's not in the like elemental burst, which means your jellyfish can have more uptime when doing damage. So I did pre-record this, so I'll just swap over to my past self, but hopefully you'll be able to sort of see this effect more clearly. Alright, secret Kokomi tech that no one has taught you. Let me show you how it works. So once you cast your little jellyfish, you'll see he does about 2000 damage. There we go. Just wait for the enemy's resistance to go down. There we go. So 2200 is the damage, and you'll see right at about 9 points something, we sort of cast the elemental burst, we refresh the jellyfish, and he does about 7k damage, which is pretty awesome. So now if I recast him and I immediately swap off, you can see here I'm keeping the attack buff. Even if I swap back to Kokomi, it doesn't matter. So look at that. The attack buff of 7000 whilst Kokomi was in her elemental burst is still being kept on the jellyfish, which is pretty awesome. So that is the sort of little hidden tech with Kokomi and her jellyfish. There are different ways to perform this, but essentially you need to be in your elemental burst, you cast Bakekrage, and then you just swap off to a different character. So this is why I typically recommend the pattern of waiting right up until this little cooldown. You can see in the corner is about 9.5 or something, then going into your elemental burst, because that'll give you like the most overlap between Kokomi and her jellyfish. So yeah guys, hopefully you found this interesting. Future me will explain this in a video, and yeah, let me know what you think and how you will be using this technique. Cheers.